Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So it's been a little while since I last uploaded a video. So much has happened in the past few months, not just in my life, but of course now with this coronavirus pandemic, things have gotten a little bit crazy, but I'm really happy to be back. I won't really get into exactly why I've been gone for such a long time. I might talk about it in a future video, but for now, I'm just really happy to be back to filming and just doing my makeup. So for today's video, I just wanted to talk about all of the makeup that I've been reaching for lately. These are my current go-tos, my current makeup favorites. So let's just go ahead and get into it. And yeah. So I already applied my entire morning skincare routine, including sunscreen. And the one that I've been reaching for over and over again is the Canmake Tokyo Mermaid Skin Gel UV. This has an SPF of 50, and for me, this works like a makeup primer, even though I do go over top of it with a separate primer. This sunscreen does not irritate my skin. It doesn't make me super greasy. It just leaves a really nice glow. Now, I will say if you have a super oily skin type, this might be a bit too much for you just because it does add like a borderline shiny finish, even though it isn't greasy. So I think this works better for people who have normal or combination skin, but yeah, this has been amazing on my skin lately. Now, even though I do love that sunscreen as a makeup primer, I do like to go in with something that's more oil controlling for my T-zone, which is where I get a little shiny throughout the day. So I've been reaching for the E.L.F Pores Be Gone Matte Primer. This is an oil-free primer. It has a bit of a gel consistency, so it does pair perfectly with that sunscreen, since that one also has kind of a gel lotion finish. This does control my oil pretty well throughout the day, and it does a bit of blurring as well. I'm just gonna apply that down the center of my forehead, down my nose, and then along the sides of my nose as well. And I like to bring it a little bit onto the cheeks. For foundation, I've been using the same one that I've been reaching for pretty much since last year, and that is the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear Foundation in the shade 460 Golden Beige. Now, I do like to mix in a tiny drop of the shade 475 Sun Beige, which has more of a warm tone, and it's just a couple of shades darker. So the shade 460 does match me pretty well, but I feel like once I apply concealer and powder, it can look a little too light on me, especially on camera. So that's why I like to go in with a tiny drop of the 475 Sun Beige. I like to do about a pump of 460 and then not even like half a pump of 475. So here are the two foundations on my palette, and I'm just gonna go ahead and mix them up. So I love the finish of this foundation. It does have more of a natural leaning matte finish, and especially applied with a beauty blender or a makeup sponge, I feel like it just has such a nice natural look to it. So I do apply it directly onto my skin first and then blend it out with a sponge. This also wears really well on me. I have worn this to concerts in the middle of the summer, and it just works so well. And I like that it applies well over my sunscreen. So I just like to apply a light layer and then just build wherever I need more coverage. And this sponge has been my favorite as well. It is from Wet n Wild. I love how it has this like flat pointed edge to it. This side works really well for concealer, and then the round side works perfectly for foundation. And I like to take it down my neck as well, so that it doesn't look like I'm wearing a foundation mask. So that is just one layer of foundation, and I did build up a little bit on my cheeks, but I feel like it just has a nice natural finish, and you can see a bit of that glow coming through from the sunscreen, which I personally really like. But yeah, this foundation has just been such a go-to for me. For concealer, the Catrice Liquid Camouflage High Coverage Concealer. I have this in the shade 32 Nude Beige and 20 Light Beige. I do like to mix both of these because the Nude Beige is just a little too dark for my under eyes, and then Light Beige is way too light, but I do like it to add a bit of brightness. It does have like a matte finish, but it doesn't emphasize any dryness that I have underneath my eyes. I just love how this concealer wears throughout the day. For bronzer, I'm going to be applying the Milk Makeup Matte Bronzer in the shade Baked. This is such a nice cream bronzer. It does have a matte finish to it, but it just blends really easily onto the skin. And I don't like applying too much because I do like to go in with a powder bronzer later on. I like to add some here onto my temples just to slim down my face a little bit. I like to add some along the sides of my nose as well. So not really contouring, but just adding a little bit of dimension. I'm gonna add some along my jawline. I am gonna set my entire face with the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Translucent Setting Powder. I'm pretty sure this is new to Wet n Wild. I think it came out this year, but I haven't seen that many people talk about it. But I really like this setting powder. I only apply a little bit because I don't like to be too matte. So I'm gonna start underneath my eyes and then around my nose. I just bring whatever's left down the rest of my face. So like I said, although I do love the Catrice Liquid Camouflage Concealer for my face and underneath my eyes, I do prefer to go in with an actual eyeshadow primer. I have been reaching for the E.L.F. Putty Eye Primer in the shade Cream. Now this to me sounds like it would be a MAC Paint Pot dupe, but I've never tried the MAC Paint Pots. Just from the description and the concept of this, it sounds like it could be. I just love the way eyeshadows blend over this, and especially shimmers and metallics. They just really pop whenever I use this. So the consistency of this is a little bit on the dry side, but I personally don't mind. I think that's what makes eyeshadows blend so well over top of it, and as long as I really warm up the product, I don't seem to have a problem. And I do apply this with my finger. I did try applying this with a brush at one point, but I just feel like it didn't go on evenly. For my eyes today, I'm going to be using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Jackie Aina palette, which has quickly become my favorite Anastasia palette. And I do have a few Anastasia palettes in my collection, but this one has just kind of taken over ever since it was released. I just love the jewel tones in here, and the mattes blend really, really well. I love the shimmers and metallics as well because they really pop. I think I'm going to start off with the shade Pinker right here, and I'm going to take that on a fluffy NYX blending brush, and I'm going to start by applying that right onto the outer corners of the lid. I'm going to try to be super careful because I did do my foundation and concealer already. And I'm not taking it all the way into the inner corner of the lid because I am going to apply a lighter shade there first. Apply a little more. I mean, look how easily that shade blended. Next, I'm taking the shade Supreme, which is this bright pink shade right here, and I'm gonna focus that more on the inner corners of the lids. I'm gonna take that on a Morphe M433 brush. I'm gonna start by applying this right into the inner portion of the lid, and then blending it towards this pinker shade, and just connecting them. I don't even know what I'm doing here, but I'm trying to do something different than what I normally go for. I'm not adding any more of that shade pinker onto my brush, and I'm just gonna start blending those two together. And I think for my lid, I don't know if I want to take Lituation, which is this grayish purpley shade. It's more on the satin side, or the shade Zam. Ooh, I might do that one. Yeah, I'm gonna do the shade Zam, which is more of a glittery bronzy shade. Ooh. And I kind of want to apply some with a wet brush just to see if I can make it a little bit more intense. I'm going to take this Morphe JH41 brush, which is a flat shader brush. I did already dip my brush into the shadow, and I'm going to wet my brush with some setting spray. I'm going to take that Morphe M433 brush, the brush that I used to apply that pink shade, and I'm just going to lightly blend this inner portion. And I'm pretty sure I'm getting some fallout right now, but that's okay. I'm going to take a little bit more of the shade Pinker and just reapply some right onto the outer corners. I'm actually going to take a little bit more of Supreme, and take that right into the inner corner again. I think I want to deepen up the outer corners a little bit, so I'm going to take Credit, which is this really deep plummy brown. I'm going to take that on a Dominique Cosmetics DS04, and I'm going to apply that right onto the outer corners of the lid. I'm going to take this Morphe E18 brush, and I'm going to go into the shade Pinker, and I'm just running that along the lower lash line and connecting it up onto the outer corner of the lid. And then I'm taking this Morphe M139 brush and dipping into the shade Supreme. And I'm going to start on the inner portion and connect it with Supreme. And then taking this Morphe JH39 brush, I'm going to dip into the shade Credit and just apply a tiny, tiny bit right onto the outer corner. So that's it for the eyes so far. I'm gonna move on to my brows really quickly. For brows, I went in with the Maybelline Brow Ultra Slim Pencil in the shade Black Brown. This has been my go-to brow pencil lately, even though I do still really like the LA Girl Shady Slim Brow Pencil. There's just something about this one. I think it's just the color and the consistency. So I went in with that, and then to set my brows, I went in with the Essence Make Me Brow brow gel in the shade Brownie Brows. This one I have been using for years now, and it's just still a favorite of mine. So that's it for the eyes. Well, actually, I'm gonna go in with mascara now, and the only mascara that I have in my collection right now is the CoverGirl Exhibitionist mascara in the shade Blackest Black. This one just gives a really nice, like, wispy look to my lashes, and it does give some really nice volume as well. So I'm going to apply a couple of coats of that. Then I'm going to tightline with the Milani Stay Put eyeliner in the shade After Dark. This is a really good eyeliner. It does stay in my waterline a really long time. Okay, moving on to the rest of the face, I am going to apply a little bit more bronzer, even though I did already go in with my Milk Makeup Matte Bronzer. But I'm going to go over top of that with the Maybelline City Bronzer in the shade 200. This has a really nice neutral tone to it. It's not too cool, it's not too warm. So I do like to pair this with a cream bronzer just to add a little bit more bronziness to the face, which is a look that I'm always going for. I'm gonna take that on a Real Techniques blush brush. I'm gonna start by applying that right onto the hollows of the cheeks, kind of going upward. And I'm not going in with too much since I do already have that Milk Matte Bronzer on. I'm going to take a little bit along the jawline. And I actually like the scent of this bronzer. It has like a light tropical sunscreen kind of scent to it. I don't even know how to describe it, but it is pretty light. It's not as intense as the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, but it is there. Moving on to blush, I've really gotten back into the Essence Satin Touch blushes. I have two shades here. Satin Coral, which is on the left, is more of a peachy corally shade, and then Satin Love, which is this one right here, is more of a mauvey pinky tone. So I think for this look, I kind of want to mix them. Yeah, I'm gonna mix them, which I haven't actually done. I hadn't reached for these in literally years. I don't know why, I just kind of forgot about them, and I was playing around with my collection, just kind of playing with makeup that I hadn't reached for in a really long time, and these are really good, and I don't hear anyone talking about them anymore. So I'm gonna go in with the Sigma F40 brush, and I've been trying to apply my blush a little bit higher than I normally do. I used to go in right on the apple of the cheek, but I feel like that kind of drags my face down, if that makes sense. I'm really trying to lift. I'm gonna start right here and just sort of bring it up. I feel like I could get better at applying blush, but for now, this is the best that I can do. Yeah, it gives a really nice glow to the cheeks. Add a little bit more. In case I added a little too much, I'm just gonna take that E.L.F small tapered brush and lightly buff around the edges just to diffuse it. And I'm gonna go ahead and set my makeup before going into highlighter. And I'm gonna take the Ofra Makeup Fixer Setting Spray. This has been my go-to for a couple of years now. I just love how this gives a glowy finish to the skin, and it does tone down the look of powder, which I really like. So I'm just gonna mist my face with this. It does have a bit of a light scent to it, but I personally don't mind. It's nothing crazy. and it does make your makeup last like all day. I always reach for this when I want my makeup to last through heat and humidity. So this one I highly recommend. It is pretty affordable. I think it's like $14 or $15 for 8 ounces, which is a pretty good deal. So if you're looking for a really good setting spray, I would highly recommend this one. For highlighter, I am so excited that this is back. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Nicole Guerrero Glow Kit, which was limited edition, I think a couple of years ago, and for some reason they brought it back. I guess enough people were asking for it. So this is what the kit looks like. I just really love this. These are pretty intense, so if you like a more subdued highlighter look, I would say start off with a really, really light amount. These are amazing. And I'm actually just gonna take that E.L.F small tapered brush and I'm gonna dip into, so many options here, but I'm gonna dip into Kitty Cat and Glow Getter, the pinky and gold shades, and I'm just gonna mix both of those. And these do have a bit of glitter in them, but I personally don't mind because of the finish. I'm also going to apply some of that highlighter right onto the inner corners of the eyes. Starting off with that Glow Getter shade. And then Kitty Cat right over top. Actually, I'm going to take a little more of Glow Getter just to, I don't know, just cause. Okay, so that's almost everything. All I have left is the lips. I'm gonna take the ColourPop Lippy Pencil in the shade BFF. I just love the ColourPop Lippy Pencils. They have a really nice matte finish to them and they do wear a pretty long time. So I'm always reaching for these. I'm gonna top that with, I don't know if I'm gonna top it with a lipstick or maybe just a gloss. Ooh, that is really pretty. So I am gonna top that with this ColourPop Luxe lipstick in the shade Layover. Just tapping it over that lip liner. And I am tempted to add a gloss, which is what I do like 90% of the time. Do I? I kind of do. So I have another ColourPop lip product. This is the Ultra Glossy Lip, the Kathleen Lights Moonchild Lip Gloss. I do have the older version of this and it doesn't have this like brush tip. I mean, it's kind of weird that they would switch over to this. They did have a nice like doe foot applicator before. I don't know why they would switch to this, but I'm still gonna use it anyway because the other one is kind of expired. So I'm gonna add a tiny bit right to the center of the lips. All right, so that is it for my current makeup favorites. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this makeup look. And again, I'm really happy to be back, even though I probably said that in the beginning of this video, but thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next one. Bye.